hypothesis means hypo plus thesis. That means hypo means less than, thesis means 100%. Okay, less than 100% means it's something uncertainty or risk. We do not say it as certainty. Less than certainty, thesis is nothing but certainty. Certainty means 100% you know that what is going to happen tomorrow. Uncertainty means you cannot estimate a 100% that what is going to happen tomorrow. That means you say that if I ask you a question, you told me an answer. I'm asking again, I was confirming with you how much confident on you or on your answer. So you might say that, sir, I'm 95% confident, sir. I'm 99% confident, sir, that that is going to happen tomorrow. So how you are saying that you are 99% confident means you are saying the other percent is, that means if you are saying 95% I'm confident means rest of the 5% you may or may not be confident. Okay, sometimes even the ads of Dettol and all these things, they say that Colgate paste or everything, they say that they remove 99%, 99.99%, it removes germs. But they have a chance of 0.001 chance that there might be some 1 or 2 germs might be present on your body, though you are having a bath with Dettol soap, Sandur soap, whatever it might be. So there will be some error. Error is nothing but, see, you are calculating some answer. See, you are calculating mean and your friend is also calculating mean. Now your friend got the answer as 4.05 and you got the answer as 3.98. Okay, 3.98, 4.05. But both the answers are correct here because 4.05 approximately equals to 4 and 3.98 is also obviously equals to 4. Both are same, but there is some deviation between your answer and your friend's answer. So that is called as error in statistics. Okay, usually errors will happen at 2 times while you're collecting the data and while you're calculating the answers. Okay, so I'll explain you once again once we are on to the topic of error. Okay, so now hypothesis means it is a future solution or tentative solution of a problem. Hypothesis means the tentative solution of a problem. Now I wanted to find out whether IMBA fourth semester students are of first class students or not. One question is given to me. So I do develop 2 statements here. What is that? Everyone knows, right? We have null hypothesis and alternative hypothesis, 2 hypotheses, right? So I want to find out whether you are good, that means first class or not. My null hypothesis says what? Yes, the students of IMB are first class students. And immediately what alternative hypothesis says that no, they are not first class students. So what do? I'll go for the testing of hypothesis. In the final step, once I get my Z value or T value or F value, I'll compare my tabulated and calculated answers. If my answer is less than the tabulated, I am correct. I am means myself correct means always null hypothesis correct. Myself means null hypothesis. Okay. So that means if null hypothesis correct means what do you write? You write the statement of H naught, right? You have already defined the statement of H naught. Finally, you got that since Zcal is less than Ztab, we accept H naught. Accepting H naught means what? You will just copy the solution statement of H naught. Or otherwise, if you are getting Ztab greater than Zcal, sorry, yes, Ztab greater than Zcal, sorry, Zcal greater than Ztab, then what do you say? We reject H naught. That means you write the statement of what? Alternative hypothesis. That means solution is already presented before. You already framed the solution and you are trying to find out which solution is correct. Okay, for every problem we are finding out 2 solutions and we are finding out which solution is the good one, is the perfect answer. So finding out the best solution is called as testing hypothesis. Okay, now what do you mean by hypothesis, man? It is a tentative solution of the problem. Tentative future solution of the problem is called as hypothesis. Okay, and hypothesis of 2 types, null hypothesis and alternative hypothesis. What do you mean by null hypothesis, man? Null hypothesis means you simply write what is the statement. There is no significant difference between 2 groups. Yes or no? No significant difference. And next step, what do you write? Alternative hypothesis. There is a significant difference. That means test of independence. Test of independence is called as null hypothesis. Test of dependence is called as alternative hypothesis. A tentative statement made about a particular situation is called null hypothesis, and the counter statement of null hypothesis is called as alternative hypothesis. And always null hypothesis is denoted by H0 and alternative hypothesis is denoted by H1. Okay, so now next, let's see some definitions which are of very simple one, so that these are going to help us in our calculation of the testing of hypothesis. Now what we are going to test, on whom we are going to test. Now I wanted to find out whether IMBA students are performing better, that means first class students or not. Then what do I do? I'll try to calculate all your past percentages. That means I'll collect all your past percentages. I'll find out the average. If that value is greater than the 70%, I say that yes, all the IMBA students are of first class students, even with the distinction, because your average is greater than 70, right? Or if it is not greater than 70, then I write you're only first class. If it is less than 60, I do write you're of second class. But I'm giving conclusion to the complete class, not for a CR, not for girls or not for boys specifically. I'm giving conclusion to the complete population. Now what do you mean by population here? Total number of students under my study is called as population. Now 67 or 68 might be your strength. If I'm doing survey on your 68 people, my total population is 68. But today, to find out the answer, if I wanted to ask all your information, but today complete class is not present here, right? Complete class is not present. So how many were present? Only 14 were present. So instead of 67 people, I'm gathering information only from 14 people. That means you are a part of population, right? You are part of, that means you are out of 68, you are 14 members. So you are going to represent your 68 members, then that is called as a sample. Now let us take one example, the beautiful example. Let us suppose in my house, my rice bag is completed. So to cook the rice, I don't have a rice bag now. So what I did, I have taken your CR along with me for the shop to buy the rice bag. Okay, so now before buying the rice bag, when I went to the shop, that shopkeeper is saying me that uh, sir, I'm having 40 rupees, 42 rupees, 45 rupees, and even 50 rupees of rice. That means per kg of 50 rupees, 42, 45. So now, what is the first thing that we get into our mind here? Obviously, the higher cost is the superior quality of the product, right? So I thought the same thing. I too thought the same thing, that 50 rupees bag is the only perfect one. That means it's a good quality bag. Immediately, the CR was knocking me from the backside. He's pinching me and saying that, sir, no, that fellow is bluffing. Even 42 rupees is also the good one, sir. 42 rupees per kg rice bag is also good one. Now something is going in my mind here. What is that? Whether my assumption is correct or that CR is correct. So if there is a dilemma, I cannot buy anything, right? So what do I do? I'll try to test which one is a good one. So how do I test it? By taking it into the hand, by seeing the rice. Sometimes, see, I cannot understand which one is good by taking into hand. So what do I do? I'll take both the rice to the my house and I'll cook that. After that, I'll find out whether which one is good. So to find out whether the rice bag is good one, do I need to cook the complete rice bag? No, right? What we are doing, we will take half kg or 1 kg of rice from those shopkeeper. We'll go home and we'll try to cook that one. So now, here the concept. See this population. Population means the total number of rice grains in that rice bag is called as population, because I am studying on rice bag, on rice. If I'm doing study on you people, then your 68 people are called as my population. Okay. Now to test that one, what did I tell you? I want handful of rice. Now I am taking handful of rice. That means half kg of rice from the bag. So I'm taking some handful of rice from the bag to see that Now, this handful of rice is called as sample, and this rice is going to represent the bag. That means, though you are going to cook the handful of rice, you can give the conclusion to the complete bag. There is no rule that you need to cook complete bag, so that then only you will come to have conclusion that whether it is good one or bad one. Okay. So now, uh, sometimes shopkeepers try to bluff us because they try to wear some good quality of rice on the top. So you got that doubt. That means what do? You can take from the top, you can take from the middle, or you can also take from the bottom of the bag. So that means you can take a sample of rice grains from top, middle, or bottom, wherever you want. Now, that process of picking sample from the population is called as sampling. See, first three definitions. First one is total number of rice grains in that rice bag is called my population. That is an example. For example, total number of observations under my study is called as population. The representative part of the population is called sample. The representative part of the population. That means the handful rice from the rice bag is called as sample. Now I am going to pick that rice from the top or bottom or from the middle or from the side. The process of picking sample from the population is called as sampling method. That means how we are going to select that each rice grain from one part, or a group of rice grains from the one part where you are going to take it. That process is called as sampling. Next, sample unit. Sample unit means the each rice grain in my hand. That means each single unit out of sample is called as sample unit. Next, sample size. Total number of rice grains in my hand is called as sample size. So see here, we have covered 5 definitions. Now, next thing is population parameter, and next one is sample statistic. Population parameter means the one which defines the population. Now, 60 members are there. So I want to define you with capital N, and I'm going to take a sample from the capital N, that is denoted by small n. The one which describes sample is called a sample statistic. It's not statistics, it's a statistic. The one which describes the population is called as, sorry, excuse me. Next, that means next, if I want to find out the mean for the population, mu is the notation for population, and the small x bar is the notation for the sample. So mu is population parameter, and x bar is sample statistics. That means the one which describes the sample is called sample statistics. The value which defines the population is called as population parameter. And always we try to do the survey in 2 ways. That means a sampling survey or census survey. Census means what? 100% enumeration of the population. If I wanted to find out the average of your class, if I'm considering all 68 people from the class, then that method is called a census method. Or instead of contacting 68 people, if I'm taking only a sample of, if I'm taking only a sample of 12 people or 10 people or 13 people out of your class, then that is called as sample survey. In doing this survey, there are 2 persons who are involved. Who are those 2 persons, man? The one who is doing research, or the one who is going to collect the information, is called as enumerator, and the person who is going to respond, that means who is going to answer the enumerator, is called as respondent. Okay. And just now I told you that just now I was saying you, uh, now your classmate was saying that, sir, even 42 rupees rice bag is also the good one, sir. Immediately I was asking him, how much confident are you on yourself? That means, sir, I'm 99% confident, sir. That fellow is bluffing. Even 42 rupees rice bag is also the good one. Not only 50, 42 is also the good one. Why don't you waste your money there? Now, level of significance is called as, level of significance means, here he is saying 99% confident or 95% confident. That means he is not confident at 5%, the remaining 5% or 1%. That 5% and 1% is called as level of significance. And the next definition is also the same one. critical region means the region of rejection. The region of rejection. That means you are accepting 95%, you are removing 5%. That means you are not confident on the remaining 5%. If you are saying 99%, you are not confident about 1%. That 1%, 5%. That is how we have 1% LOS and 5% LOS while solving our problems in general. Even we have 10% LOS also, but most of the time we consider 5% and 1%. See, anyways, you have done your problems in your last semester, right? In all the problems, LOS will be given. For suppose, if LOS is not given, if level of significance 5% or 1% is not given, then what is the value we consider? Which LOS I need to consider, man? Can anyone answer me? In the question, 5% LOS or 1% LOS is not given. So to find out tabulated value, I want LOS. So whether I should consider 5% or 1%?
5%, sir.
5%. Yes, okay. Why so? Any reason for that? Of course, your answer is correct. I appreciate that. Do you know the reason behind that? So, okay. See, 5% LOS means what? 95% confident. 1% LOS means 99% confident. See, if you are not confident at 95%, can you say the answer at 99% I'm confident? You are 99% confident means what? You are confident at 95% also. But first, the minimum value is what? 95% confident. So, if LOS is not given in the question, we consider it as 5%. If it is given, we go with the same LOS which is printed on the question paper. Okay. Now, next concept is degrees of freedom. Degrees of freedom means what? You will be having this concept in the at the place of small sampling. Small sampling. Small sampling means in t-test, if one sample, the degrees of freedom is n minus 1. If it is two samples are given, n1 plus n2 minus 2. Chi-square is also n minus 1. What is that? What is that n minus 1, n1 plus n2 minus 2? Let's take one example like I was assigning roll numbers to you people. There are 67 people are there or 68 people are there in your class. I'm assigning from roll number 1 to roll number 68. Now, one student is asking me that, sir, please, I don't like this roll number. Can you change my roll number? Can you change my roll number? So, if he is not interested in roll number 1, how many chances I'm having to give him out of 68?
63.
How come here?
67. 67.
Exactly. 60. If he is not comfortable with rule number 1, I have a chance from giving him from rule number 2 to rule number 68. That means I'm having 67 chances. That is the freedomness of the numbers within the group. That is called as degrees of freedom. And this is always considered when the sample is small but not in large sampling. Okay, in large sampling, however, whether it is 31, 32, 35, whatever it might be, the degrees of freedom will not be considered. Okay. Now, next one is parametric test and non-parametric test. Let's see the other. See, I was simply staying here. I'll just move on to the next slide. See, here I've already mentioned what do you mean by the population or sample. So this is total number of people I'm going to study on. So this is population. These people, how I'm selecting these RMarks are called as sampling, and out of that, the people who have already selected is called as sample. Okay. Now next one. Let us come in a region. Okay. Now the next concept is point estimation and interval estimation. Point estimation and interval estimation. Point estimation means what? See, I was in my staff room. Your CR came to my staff room. So by his behavior in our staff room, if I'm concluding that, let us suppose he came to staff room and he was misbehaving with the another faculty. By basing on that fellow, if I say that all MBA students are bad, that means basing on a single value, I'm giving conclusion to the complete class. Then that is called as point estimation. That is called as point estimation. If he is behaving very good, then I think that complete MBA, IMBA students are of very good students. Now, next one is interval estimation. Interval estimation means here I'm not doing it on by based on a one person, based on 10 people. Now, you are late comers to the class. Now, 5 or 6 members are standing outside the class and you are shouting like anything. Now, basing on you 5 people, if I give conclusion to the complete IMBA, then that is called as interval estimation. That means estimating the population parameter based on this group of people. Here, estimation means what? See, point estimation or group estimation means what? What exactly estimation means?
Assuming.
Exactly. See, I'll give you the one more example here. Like actually, you are 68 people are there. I have collected each and every pass percentage. Your intermediate pass percentages. So I have calculated my answer. That is our actual mean of our class, mean of the population. Population mean, I got the answer as 65.3 percentage. Population mean is how much here? 65.3%. Now, there are 5 or 6 students standing out the classroom. I just told you now. Now, if I collect, instead of getting into your classroom, I have collected the data from these 6 or 10 people who are standing outside the class. For time being, I have calculated my answer. I got the answer as 62.5. I got my answer as 62.5. Now, is this 62.5 satisfying 65.3 man? Are the two values nearby?
Yes, sir.
Of course, it is yes. For suppose I got the answer as 55.3, then that is not satisfying the population answer. Okay, basing on the sample value, I am trying to estimate whether this is correct. That means the sample answer is the population answer, whether it is correct or not. If I'm taking a group of people, then that is called interval estimation. If I'm taking a single value, your CR came to my class, his pass percent is 72.3. Now I thought on the average, most of the people in the class also in and around 70% only. So that is called as point estimation. Okay. So now, just now I was explaining you regarding critical region and significance level. Significance level means your confidence interval. How much you are confident? Sir, I am 95% confident. That is called as confident interval. Critical region means the region of rejection. The region of rejection is called as critical region. Now, next thing is, I told you that population parameter and sample statistic. X bar is denoting sample, mu is denoting population, capital N population, small n sample. Next, S is denoted as standard deviation of sample and sigma is denoted as standard deviation of population. Likewise, we have these things. Okay. Next one, anyways, I have explained you what do you mean by hypothesis and what are all those things like null and alternative hypothesis. Now, okay. Now let us come back to the previous example which we are discussing about the rice bag. So, because of my student says that because of he made me to get into a dilemma. What did I do? I have taken, excuse me, I have taken 1 kg of each rice bag. That means 50 rupees 1 kg and 42 rupees 1 kg. I went to my home. And See, these are the actual steps what we use in solving the testing of hypothesis problem. First, once a problem is given, we will write what is given in the question, whether two samples are given, one sample is given, how many standard deviations are there, whether means are given or not, whether proportions are given. We write in that step. Now after that, we will develop null hypothesis and alternative hypothesis. What is that null here in this example? 52 kgs rice bag is the good quality rice. And immediately, what is the counter statement that CR is saying? No, no, sir, that 50 kgs rice bag is not a premium quality rice bag. So I asked him, how much you are confident. He said me that I'm 95% confident, sir. Okay, done. So to test whether he is right or I am right, what did I do? I have taken rice bag to home. After taking it home, I'll test it. Testing means what? What do I do, man? In testing process, what do I do? Testing
Compare.
means here I should know whether to boil the rice or whether to fry the rice. Can I fry the rice to eat it? No,
sir.
right? I should boil the rice. We usually say it as a steamed rice, right? Steamed rice means you are boiling the rice. You will boil the egg and we will try to fry the curry. That means for each different type of vegetables, we have something different. That means for egg, we boil it. For rice, we boil it. For curries, we fry it. Yes or no? That means whether to fry it or to boil it, we will decide in the step of test statistic. That means based on the information given, in the given step, we should identify which model the problem belongs to. Unless until you do not know the formula, how do you substitute in the formula to get the answer, man? Yes or no? So here I am testing it. How I'm testing it? I came to know that I should boil the rice, not fry the rice. Okay, I'm boiling on 2 bowls. Now the rice is ready. That means I'm doing calculation over here. The rice is ready now. Finally, I'm going for the comparison of both the rice bowls now. How can I say that? It is a good quality rice? Usually girls are also there in the class, right? How do you say that the rice is of a good quality? Sir, today eat, sir, tomorrow morning loose motion, sir, bad quality rice. Today eat, sir, tomorrow normal motion, it is good quality rice, sir. No, right? We cannot say on this on that concept, right? See, usually in Telugu we say that edugavadam. That means the level of rice increase after it is boiled. Let us suppose you have taken 1 glass of rice. After boiling, minimum it has to increase 3 times. Then we say that it is a good quality rice. If it is not increased to that level, we say that it is a normal quality rice. Now, basing on that, I'll compare my answer. I'll see, I got one. Let us suppose I have found out my average of your class. After finding out average, what do? I cannot keep in my pocket and sit quiet. No, right. So I have to compare our calculated answer with one answer. What is that answer? How I can say that your first class students, I got the answer as 62.5. And I'm comparing with one standardized value. What is that standardized value? 60%. If your answer is greater than 60%, you are first class student. If your answer is less than 60%, you are second class student. That means we want one standardized value. That standardized value is called as tabulated value. We compare our answer with tabulated value. How do we get our tabulated value? By basing on the step of LOS and DOF. Hope you all are getting the concept. How do we get the tabulated value, man? Based on the LOS and DOF of the problem, we get one standardized value. Once in calculation, after substituting in the formula, we'll get one answer. We will try to compare our answer with that standardized value. Then see here, if calculated value is less than the tabulated value, we accept H naught. If calculated value is greater than the tabulated value, we reject H naught. Okay, this is the criteria of accepting your answer or rejecting your answer. So finally, you write there the conclusion, whether the rice bag is a good quality rice or normal quality rice, and whether the students are first class students or second class students. See, Next, see here we have covered point estimation, interval estimation. Null alternative is also done. Test statistic I just told you now. Now, two-tailed test and one-tailed test. Two-tailed test and one-tailed test. What do you mean by two-tailed test and one-tailed test? Two-tailed test 1.96, one-tailed test it is 2.58. We write some values, right? 1%, 5% level of significance. We have standardized values. See here, two-tailed test means what? In null hypothesis, I am saying x is equal to 0. I am saying my statement, null hypothesis statement, x is equal to 0. Immediately CR is saying that no sir, x is not equal to 0. X not equal to 0 means what? Not equal to 0 means what? Either x can be of a negative values or a positive values. That means I have a chance of both negative and positive. That means negative values to the left side and positive values to the right side. So we have two-tailed test value. Okay, two-tailed test means if null not equal to symbol is there, then that is called as two-tailed test. Now in one-tailed test, actually we have right-tailed test and left-tailed test. Now I said x equal to 0. Immediately CR is saying that no sir, x is greater than 0 always. X is always greater than 0. That means he is deciding one side only. X greater than 0 means what? He is saying always x is a positive value. Positive values will be always to the right hand side. So that is why it is called as right tailed test. If x is greater than 0, that is called as right tailed test. If x is less than 0, that is called as left tailed test. Not equal to means two tailed test. In large sampling, we say that right tailed test and left tailed test, but in small sampling, we say only one tailed test. Okay. So now in doing our answer, okay, I'll discuss about standard error. Before that, just a minute, guys. Yes, just now I was saying about these tails, left tail, right tail, and two tail test. Next, we have something which is called as error. Error means what? Error means not a mistake actually. It's not a mistake. There is some deviations which are happening in our answer, that is called as error. Okay. So now there are two types of errors which are happening in hypothesis man. First one is type 1 error. Second one is type 2 error. See on the screen that I think everyone can see this diagram. That means the figure which is on that. A doctor is saying to a male patient, you are pregnant. Is that correct? That is wrong, right? And in the second case also, the lady doctor is saying to a pregnant that you are not a pregnant. You are not a pregnant. So though she is carrying of 8 months baby inside, the doctor is saying you are not a pregnant. That is a mistake, right? That is a false statement. At the same time, you are saying a male guy that you are pregnant. That is also wrong. So we should be cautious while we are writing our conclusions of the problem. Now, what is the type of mistakes that we do? Let me tell you. See, now I came to know that zcal is less than ztab. Z calculated value is less than tabulated. Then what should we do? We should write accept H0. Is it clear, man? Am I clear with this statement? Just give me the confirmation. I'll continue.
Yes, sir.
If calculated is less than tabulated, I should write accept H0. But unfortunately, I wrote reject H0. Though our null hypothesis is correct, I'm saying that reject null hypothesis. So that is called as type 1 error. Rejecting the right answer. Rejecting the right answer is called as type 1 error. And the next one is accepting the wrong answer. Now actually you have here calculated is greater than tabulated. That means you have to write reject H0. But unknowingly you have written accept H0. That means you are accepting the wrong answer. Rejecting the correct answer is one error, accepting the wrong answer is also one error. Okay, see, in this case you are not a pregnant, that is a wrong statement. If you accept that, that is type 2 error. And the first one is, he is saying that you are a pregnant. Again, if you are accepting that, that is also a type 2 error, right? You are accepting the false answer. And the doctor is saying what here? Lady doctor is saying you are not a pregnant, but that means what? She is rejecting the right one. Already there is a baby of 8 months, and how can you say that statement? So that is a kind of type 1 error. Okay, type 1 errors and type 2 errors. So now we had an idea of how many steps. So in our testing of hypothesis, whatever the problem might be given, we are going to write these 8 steps: given, null hypothesis, alternative hypothesis, level of significance, test statistic, calculation, comparison, and conclusion. Okay. So now hypothesis testing is of two types. First one is called as parametric test, and the another one is non-parametric test. Parametric means what and non-parametric means what? See, in our problems in Z test or T test, we used some formulas. What are those formulas? Mean and standard deviation most of the time. All the time, mean means x bar only. That means summation x by n is our formula. And standard deviation means square root of summation x minus x bar whole square by n is our formula. That is fixed formula. If mean and standard deviations are fixed, then those problems are called as parametric test. If mean and variance formulas are not standard, that means for model to model, the formula of mean and standard deviation keep changes. Then those type of tests are called as non-parametric test. Okay, those type of problems are called as non-parametric test. Now, in parametric test, we have again two types of sampling. One is large sampling and the another one is small sampling. How do you identify the problem is of large sampling? If the size of the sample, that means in given step, that means if a problem is given, once we read that problem, we can come to the conclusion that what is the sample size. See, to do a research on your class, I have taken a sample of 12 members. Now 12 is less than 30, right? So I need to use the techniques of small sampling. Now, to test the rice bag whether it is of a good quality or a bad quality, I have taken 1 kg of rice. The number of total rice grains in 1 kg is how many here? Greater than 30. So there I need to use my large sampling problems only. So in under large sampling, we have 5 methods. What are those 5 methods here? Single mean. Always large sampling is always calculated by using the formula Z. Z is equal to, we have some formulas. Single mean, x bar minus mu by sigma by root n is single mean. Difference of mean, that means if only one sample is given, I wanted to find out whether IMBA students are good quality students or not. That is single mean problem. Now, if I wanted to compare between girls and boys, whether girls are performing better or boys are performing better in the class, then it is called as difference of means problem. Difference of means and difference of standard deviations are both are same, but there will be some change in difference of standard deviation. And when do we use difference of standard deviation? When the same information will be given, but the condition on variance will be mentioned in the question, then only we will consider difference of standard deviation. Next two models are called as single proportion and difference of proportion. Single proportion means what is mean by proportions here? See, if in the problem while you are reading the problem, if you find mean and standard deviation, then the problem might be single mean, difference of mean, or difference of standard deviation. But no means are given. Only sample and subsample is given. Sample and subsample is given, where we can find out proportions. Then sample and subsample is given, then the problem might be single proportion or difference of proportions problem. So these 5 models constitutes our large sampling problem, and these are the formulas. I'll explain you what is the difference between each and everything once we start our problems. Now, we have something which is called as table values. Table values means in calculation part we'll get our answer. So in for especially for Z test, I'm saying these things. For Z test, these values are always constant. We always compare our answers with these values. If our answer is less than these values, we are correct. That means null hypothesis is correct. If our answer is greater than these values, so alternative hypothesis is correct. Now, moving on to the small sampling, we have four different types of tests. That is t-test, f-test, chi-square test, and analysis of variance. Now, see, in large sampling, we have z-test. But in small sampling, the same thing will repeat in our t-test. Again, we have single mean, difference of mean, and paid t-test problem. We will not have difference of standard deviation under t-test. But we have a concept of paid t-test. That means if you are finding out the relation between before and after the study, before training and after training. So in such cases, we use paid t-test. I'll get into depth once we start the problems. So next, in large sampling, we have difference of standard deviation. In small sampling also, we have difference of standard deviation, and that is called as f-test here. Okay. Under chi-square, we have four different types of methods. Those which are called as goodness of fit, ratios model, equality model, contingency table. In chi-square, some ratios will be given. 9:3:3:1. So if ratios are mentioned, the problem belongs to chi-square most of the time. Goodness of fit means here again we'll use the formulas of binomial distribution and Poisson distribution. In probability, we solved these problems, right? We have formulas like NCX into P power X into Q power N minus X is binomial distribution, and E power minus lambda into lambda power X by X factorial is Poisson distribution. If we have to use those distributions in hypothesis, then that problem belongs to goodness of fit. And suppose some rows and columns are given, a table format is given, then that problem is called as contingency table model, chi-square contingency table model. Next one is analysis of variance. Now till now in t-test, z-test, f-test, chi-square test, we'll be having either one sample or two samples. Like section is one thing, boys and girls only two things. Now if the sample is more than two, I wanted to find out the difference between MBA and MCA. How many groups are there? Only two. But I wanted to find out the difference between three, MBA, MCA, and IMBA in our college. Now that means samples are more than two. If the samples are more than two, then we use analysis of variance. Now the samples can be 3, 4, 5, any number. We can use one-way classification or two-way classification again. We have two categories of problems here. Okay. So now next one, which is called, these are the combination of all small sampling, and now these are parametric tests. Under non-parametric test, we have sign test, run test, Mann-Whitney U test, Wilcoxon sign rank test, Kruskal-Wallis test, McNemar test, Kolmogorov-Smirnov test. These are the 7 different types of, and we have one more test which is also called as Friedman rank test also. Friedman rank test. These are the different types of models what we are going to solve under non-parametric test. By solving all these methods, we'll be finishing off our testing of hypothesis. See, the problems will be all similar. The only one thing what we need to remember is how to identify that problem belongs to which model. I'll make sure that you'll get to know how to identify all these identification marks. I'll make a note points of each and every method, that how does this problem belong to that particular model, and what is the difference between from one model to the another model. Okay, finally, our hypothesis testing is consisting of these many tests. Okay, so we have discussed these and we are done with that. We are done with the introduction part of testing of hypothesis one. So tomorrow's class, I'll be starting our problems on testing of hypothesis. So do you